Welcome to our webinar on Day Camp Impact. The purpose of this webinar is to share some of the exciting learning that has taken place around what matters most in terms of impacting the lives of the children in your day camp program. Let's get started with a little bit of background. Measuring impact is important for several reasons. First and foremost, it's one of the 9 characteristics of a cause-driven YMCA. Measuring impact also provides you with the data to tell a powerful story about how your YMCA is changing lives. And being able to tell that powerful story will enable you to raise the level of support inside your YMCA. Neil Nickel, CEO of YUSA, drew this on a board at a YMCA meeting and suggested to the audience that the YMCA operates in the higher dimensions of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. He further went on to state that he believes this is what separates the Y from other organizations. The 9 dimensions of well-being is a framework that we have used to measure impact throughout all of our base metric studies. As you can see from this slide, the dimensions of well-being map nicely to Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Impact is defined as the change in one's well-being. These studies are not measuring whether or not your members, staff, and program participants have a high level of well-being. It is measuring whether or not participation in the YMCA is improving their well-being. So throughout all of these studies, impact is defined as changing lives. And we use those 9 dimensions of well-being to help measure and define impact. Our survey methodology. Our instrumentation is self-consciously focused on measuring change. The respondent strongly agrees to having seen a personal change in or improvement to. Change is to a specific and defined component of one of the well-being dimensions. The respondent attributes the change or improvement to the YMCA. The respondent can describe the change or improvement in his or her own words. And those descriptions can be mapped back to the dimensions of well-being. All good research begins with a theory. Here are some of the theories that we had developing the day camp package. There are 9 dimensions of well-being which can be measured and tracked at the level of the camp. The dimensions are distinct but strongly correlated to each other. Some camps are better than others at improving camper well-being. That parents can describe the impact, and those descriptions would map back to the dimensions of well-being. And that camp staff would be able to use this data to focus their resources and improve their impact in the lives of the children that they're serving. Our analysis. Now this is where the rubber meets the road and things start to become very interesting. First, it's important to understand the questions that are embedded in this study that align with each of those 9 dimensions of well-being. So let's take a look at character. When we're measuring impact in character, we're asking the parents if participation in your day camp program has helped the child demonstrate caring, honesty, respect, and responsibility. If participation in your day camp program has helped them to value differences in others. Achievement. Here, this is about self-efficacy, right? That sense of, I did this, I can do this, look what I did and accomplished. So here we're measuring whether or not participation in day camp has helped the child do better in school, gain new knowledge, skills, and abilities, build confidence, discover what he or she can achieve, are they more motivated to learn, and is your program helping the child discover who they are? As you can see, some of the dimensions have one question while others have multiples. So our first step in the analysis was to create national averages for each of these dimensions of well-being. Here we're looking at a comparison table of a top-rated YMCA, the national average, and a low-performing YMCA. And you can see that we've got each dimension captured with the questions that align under that dimension. So this table allows us to begin to see variances in performance. Let's take a look at character. Demonstrates caring, honesty, respect, and responsibility. 26% of the parents strongly agree in a low-performing Y, 44% on national average, 59% at a higher-performing YMCA. Achievement. This program has helped my child gain new knowledge, skills, and abilities. 33% compared to 46 as a national average, to 63 as a high-performing YMCA. So there's a couple of things that this table begins to tell us. First, the distribution says that you can change and get better. You can move from here up to here and into here. The distribution also tells us that we can figure out where to focus in order to get better. So the next step in our analysis was to begin to do a little bit higher level math, begin to smush these questions together under each of the 9 dimensions of well-being to create a national index for each of those dimensions. So we would be able to better understand the relationship between the 9 dimensions of well-being. This table is a correlation matrix. What we've got highlighted in blue is a correlation of 0.8 or higher, which is a very strong correlation. Let's just say that at this strength, this is certainly not happening by chance. So let's take a look at character. Character correlates very strongly with achievement and giving. So Ys who are performing well in character are performing well in achievement and giving. So what began to surface at this stage of analysis is the dimension of achievement. The dimension of achievement correlates more strongly with character, relationships, belonging, and inspiration. So achievement alone correlates more strongly with the majority of the other dimensions of well-being. More dimensions than any other single dimension. So we're beginning to understand that achievement is a very important contributor to your ability to impact the lives of the children in your day camp program. Now, our third and final step of the analysis was to continue to do a bit more fancier math, smush all of these dimensions of well-being together to create an overall impact index. And as you can see from this graph, achievement clearly surfaced as the single most important contributor to day camp impact. Remember that one of our theories was that we would be able to map the comments from parents back to the 9 dimensions of well-being. Let's take a look at what some of the parents are saying from a high-scoring impact day camp. Exposure to kids from a variety of backgrounds and cultures, learning appreciation for others. So learning is around achievement, appreciation for others' character, how to get along with others, learning the importance of exercise and smart, healthy eating habits, achievement and the dimension of health, increased confidence, achievement, making new friends, relationships, opened up more, inspiration, making friends, relationships. My child is displaying self-confidence, achievement, very active social life right now, relationships and belonging, enjoying the interaction with friends, that sense of belonging, more social, making new friends, relationships, learning, achievement, topics of bullying, helping the less fortunate, that dimension of giving, cooperation with others, character, become more sociable, relationships, open, inspiration, relationships, making new friends. So over and over and over again, we see those dimensions of well-being surfacing in these themes. Let's take a look at some of the comments from the parents of a low-performing impact camp program. I felt that the program entertained or babysat my kids while I was away. Current personnel do not treat the kids in a fun and age-appropriate manner. Remember fun. I don't think this program offers unique experiences needed to impact my child. Felt much more like a daycare than an engaging and well-put-together program. My son was completely bored with his week at camp. Yummy snacks were scheduled but not offered. Summer camp program as a glorified day camp. No real sense of camp community. Instructors tend to treat the kids like naughty brats and use negative consequences instead of positive reinforcement. So as you can see, there's a tremendous amount to be learned from both the negative comments, those parents who scored low on whether or not they felt like their child was having that camp was having a real positive impact in their child's life, compared to those who scored high and gave positive comments about how that camp is having a real positive impact in their child's life. As we looked at thousands upon thousands of comments from parents, we began to see some themes. And these are the themes from those positive comments, those folks who gave it a 9 or a 10, your promoters. It was about teamwork and self-confidence, learning new things, having different types of children involved in the program. It was about making friends, having opportunities for leadership, physical activity and weight loss, and respect, caring, and sharing. Again, they map back very nicely to those 9 dimensions of well-being. In the low-performing camp, the negative comments, boring, repetitive activities, babysitting, not in daycare versus camp, untrained and disengaged staff, far too much indoor activity, lack of personal interaction, no fun, a weak program, and no engaging, unique experiences. So what are some actionable insights that you can take away from this data? First and foremost, program content matters. It's very important that you develop fresh, challenging, fun activities for the children in your day camp programs. Focus on providing age-appropriate experiences that foster that sense of agency and accomplishment. Keep in mind, achievement, that dimension of achievement, is the largest single contributor to your ability to have a real positive impact in the lives of the children that you're serving in your day camp program. Recruiting engaging staff and train them to connect. Have you profiled your day camp counselor positions and your day camp director positions? Do you hire to that profile? Keep in mind that the staff team that you're hiring are the ones that are going to connect those children, connect with those children, connect children to other children, and they're the ones that are going to deliver this awesome curriculum that you're going to build as a result of what you're learning in this webinar. Camp is a big yes, child care is a big no. You need to consider the implications for school-based programs that you're running in the summertime. How do you make them feel and look more like summer camp for that 10-week period? Participant diversity is a big plus. So here are some best demonstrated practices in day camp achievement. These are some high-performing YMCAs, some very high-performing YMCAs, and the dimension of achievement. And they're grouped by small, medium, and large YMCAs. So Kingsport in Northern York, very strong performing, high-performing small YMCAs, Rockford in Miami, medium-sized YMCAs, North Shore and Rochester, larger YMCAs. So here's a question that surfaced during our analysis. Does impact pay the bills? So SEER did a little bit of math and took a look at a couple of our demographic questions. One of those questions is how many weeks your child attends during the summer. And we selected those that the percentage of parents who said their children attend 6 to 10 weeks. And then we looked at how many times a week their child was coming. And we selected those that said they were coming 5 days a week. And did some math. And you can see in your top-rated Y, 77% of your children are coming 6 to 10 weeks, compared to your low-performing Y, where 40% of the children are coming 6 to 10 weeks. 90% are coming 5 days a week in a high-performing Y, 70% in a lower-performing Y. So your relative revenue index at a high-performing Y is 0.69, compared to a 0.28 at a low-performing Y. So yes, indeed, running a high-engaging camp program that impacts the lives of the children that you're serving most definitely keeps children coming back week after week and continues to draw new children in. And impact does pay the bills. This concludes our webinar on day camp impact. Keep in mind as you go into your planning process for your summer day camp program, achievement is the single most important contributor to your ability to impact the lives of the children in your day camp program. Good luck and have a great summer.